has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible. Hanging out the bad, see the book, the bad, apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh, people dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-up should do. Along with the Tutty and Tater King himself, the golf guru Carver. Hi this afternoon, ladies. Mafia running it with Luke. I am your father. The rundown on a Misery Monday, a double shot with Morency this very hour from Vancouver. Plus, within the walls of this hour, Bill Michaels, the host of the Bill Michaels Show, all over the great state of Wisconsin. And then in the second hour, Jerry Palm of CBS Sports breaking down college football for us. And what a day Sunday, Mike. Honestly, I was losing my mind. I know you were losing your mind. It ended up being a great day for both of us. Screw everybody else.
Yeah, screw everybody else indeed. Happy Monday here on Coast to Coast. Good to see you. And it was a good Sunday for the both of us, that's for sure. But we have to start with the Steelers. How could we not? Because it was just it was such a wild game. And the way that it finished, and there was so much stuff that happened at the end of that game, and the Steelers taking the lead. Wilson dropping it in the bucket to Mike Williams, who, what'd they say afterwards? He didn't even know the route. Like Russ told him in the huddle, like, go up that way, make a left, and go to the end zone, and we'll get you. Don't worry, just catch the ball. It was one of those schoolyard.
Turn left at the Malibu, right? And go deep. So look, I just felt like, in all honesty, you may have seen me say this, that it reminded me, those two catches, the one by Williams to win the game on the moon ball and the Pickens to start the game 7-0, reminded me of Stallworth and Swan. It really did. Like, brilliant receivers, legendary receivers. You got to remember, the Jets got rid of Mike Williams because Aaron Rodgers thinks he stinks. That's the bottom line. And the reality is that now the fact of the matter is Aaron Rodgers stinks. Aaron Rodgers is the problem. Aaron Rodgers is now a full-time loser. That's all he does is lose. He doesn't do anything anymore. His career's over, and everybody knows it. Nobody wants to admit it. And they got rid of him like he was trash. And in his first game with Pittsburgh, he catches a game-winning, ridiculous catch, over-the-shoulder catch. That was just absolutely phenomenal. The Pickens grab was contorted, falling the wrong way, somehow spinning back the other way and over his head, way over his head, pulls it in. Unbelievable. He threw another one to Freiermuth. And then, they win the game, obviously, and I don't want to hear it. I'll argue with anybody. Ertz's knee was down, and if I'm so wrong, how come they didn't talk about it after the game? How come they didn't review it and question it and throw a temper tantrum? And all the players talked about what a bad call it was, because it wasn't a bad call. He was down. His knee was down. He was a yard short. It's that simple. Game over. And then to draw him off sides on that cadence was ridiculous. The Steelers win their fourth in a row, and we'll see you Sunday at the place the Steelers play. And all I heard was, I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. Unbelievable. Ravens Steelers Sunday, Bills and Chiefs Sunday. Nice win by the Bills yesterday as well in Indy, and they're now booing Joe Flacco on the reg, I guess.
Yeah, they're booing Joe Flacco, but unfortunately for them, I actually just saw this before we came on. Steichen did his Monday press conference and said Joe's going to start again this week against the Jets, so they're not putting Anthony Richardson back in yet. Bills win 30-20, and I'm with you. The Ertz play, I thought it was close, but I thought the call on the field was the right call that they got. Whatever they called on the field was good. And the only people I saw actually get, there was a clip floating around on Twitter of the Washington radio guys going ballistic that they got the spot wrong. That was the only ones I saw truly going crazy.
Where was all the
about
other
where
talk?
the spot
where was all that talk today on TV? Where was it yesterday after the game?
The radio crew of the opposing team on any call is always going to go bonkers when they think something doesn't go their way. Great win for the Steelers. Sets up, of course, the Ravens this week. You'll be there. Bills win. They're 8-2. Sets up the Chiefs coming to Buffalo. Man, the Chiefs, they get by every week.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how they do it every single week. They block a Bronco field goal at the gun that would have won it for Denver, and they stuffed it back at them. They find a way, though, every single week. Hopefully they don't find a way
this week. They're not going to find a way this week. This week they're going down. And,
I hope so.
Remember, that division's over. The Bills are hosting playoff games. And then the Steelers have beaten the Ravens 7 of 8 times, and they're 3.5-point dogs.
They are 3.5 point. And remember, and we'll do it all this week too. I did it for you 2 weeks ago. Tomlin at home as a dog. Unbelievable numbers against the spread and straight up. Always gets it done at home. I'll have all the numbers for you all week, but I'm already. You're giving me 3.5 with the Steelers at home.
It's supposed to be 60 and cloudy for the game is what I'm seeing early.
Not bad weather.
Saturday, 58 and sunny. Sunday, clouds. Monday, clear for wheels up back to New York. So all I know is I'm not fearing any kind of freezing cold or soaking wet. Like, I've been to those games. I went to that Lions tie in the freezing rain. It was the worst. And
the worst.
It is what it is. I want just a good game. Obviously, I think the Ravens are good. I respect them. I hate them.
I know you do. We'll do all the other Pain Day stuff as well. The Lions came back last night in the Sunday night game against the Texans. What a pike job by Houston, who once again, 4th game in a row, didn't score a touchdown in the second half. They didn't score any points in the second half last night as the Lions came back. Goff throws 5 picks. Lions still win.
How about
in
that
Houston.
Guy Bates? The one to the right from 58 yards, right upright by a foot. And then the winner, with 4 seconds left upright by a foot. He made both of them. That guy was clutch.
Barely. So we'll go through all the games from Sunday. We have a ton of college to get to from Saturday as well. Let's do the good first. Indiana, 10-0. There it is. Play the band, and they will be 10-0. Going to the Horseshoe next Saturday. And I saw, they didn't blow out Michigan. They didn't cover it. They have been destroying teams all year. They weren't going to go the whole season without a nail-biter. And Michigan came into Bloomington and gave them a hell of a game. But Indiana still got it done. And they're 10-0 as they get ready to play the Buckeyes.
Listen, Rourke, I think he was $190 in the first half. He threw for 16 yards in the second half. They shut him down. Michigan played great. I respect their effort. They should have, could have, would have won the game. They didn't get it done. Indiana's defense got it done. They stiffened up and made plays. I thought the punt return for 35, 40 yards was the key to the game. It set up the game-winning field goal. To ice it. They were up 2 at the time, 17-15, and then you kick it. You go up 20-15, and then you hold on for dear life. But look, they're 10-0, 10 wins for the first time in program history, and they've moved up to number 5 in the poll. And obviously, we'll find out tomorrow night where they are for the playoff poll.
4 of the top 5 teams in the AP this week are from the Big Ten, with Indiana, of course, being one of those 4 teams. Miami, on the other hand, didn't get it done. We'll talk about that later as Georgia Tech once again gives Miami bad news. Ole Miss, huge win over Georgia. Alabama destroys LSU. We'll go through all that. We got a lot of NBA later. It was like injury weekend in the NBA. Who didn't get injured? Star players in the NBA over the last couple of days. So we have a lot of that.
The worst injury, I think. He's going to be out at least 10 weeks. I thought Cam Ward was going to drive down the field and win another game.
I did too.
He fumbled, so it was just torturous for me.
together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You can catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 East, 7 West. We get Gabe on Coast to Coast every day, thank God, from Vancouver. And he was doing I believe, the Lions game last night. They were down 23-7, getting smoked at the half at NRG and H-Town. And then in the second half, they just came fighting back. And they steal that game with Bates' toe twice, 58 and 52, despite Goff's 5 picks. How many times have you seen a game in your life where a guy throws 5 picks and they win?
Not often. And last night's game reminded me of a Ryan Fitzpatrick game with the New York Jets against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm sure Jet fans will remember this game. Turned out it was 2016. We actually looked it up. That was the most interceptions I ever saw in a game that I can remember, Scott. 6. So Goff got to 5. I went over the list last night. You'd be surprised. There were some pretty good quarterbacks that actually had thrown 6 interceptions. Joe Namath had thrown 6 picks in a game. Kenny Stabler, Steve DeBerg. Right, there was a long list, but it's not a list you really want to be on. But they found a way to win the football game, right? They found a way when it was all said and done. They dug down deep. They didn't quit. They were plus 500 at halftime, Scott. That's what the line was. It was plus 500 on the money line. The Detroit Lions. They ended up coming back and winning the football game. And that's the sign of a great team, isn't it? When you don't play well, when one of your stars or a couple of guys are off and it's not going your way, and you still find a way to win the football game. And Bates is one guy, Scott, that I knew all about because I'm hardcore. And, you could say I'm a hardcore professional. I like to be prepared. Or you could say I'm a hardcore degenerate gambler who bets on everything and watches everything. But I soak up all that XFL stuff and all that UFL stuff. So I knew all about Bates with the Michigan Panthers. And, I mean, dude, he hit like a 66-yarder in the UFL. That's what sort of got people's attention. But he followed that up, Scott, with just consistently 62, 58, 56. Like he rarely missed. I remember he missed once, like a 47-yarder in the UFL, and everyone was shocked. And I remember saying at the time, okay, that's really cool. You're doing it in an empty stadium, you know what I mean, in the UFL. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
Let's see you do it in the NFL. Well, he did it in the NFL, bro. 58 yards, game on the line. I mean, this guy's unbelievable.
I guess he's played soccer his whole life, and he's got quite the leg.
Never took a kick in his life, Scott.
Right.
People need to understand this. He never attempted a field goal in his life until the UFL.
Do you remember?
Now he's in the NFL.
Do you remember Pete Stoyanovich of the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He was a soccer star at Indiana University. I remember because I was doing play-by-play of his career in soccer.
Oh, he was
when
Indiana.
He won the national championships at IU for Jerry Yeagley. And he was a soccer star and then went to the Dolphins and became a prolific kicker in the NFL. These guys that kick soccer balls can kick NFL balls straight all day.
Yeah, it's amazing, Scott. I imagine we could literally go to like the Bundesliga in Germany, go to Bayern Munich, and probably just randomly take 4 dudes, put a football in midfield and say, just kick this, see what happens. And I bet you they'd be smoking it. Like,
automatic.
Boom, right down the middle. Audrey's another guy on the Cowboys, played some soccer. Soccer's a big thing, but this, so Bates, guys, he was a long kickoff specialist. So he was on Arkansas's football team in college. He played soccer, and he was on Arkansas's football team, but he used to take kickoffs. In high school, he was a kickoff specialist. So he's had such a leg. Coaches were like, we need this guy on the team because it's always a touchback if he kicks the ball. So that's how he played football, but he never attempted a field goal before. And it was one of those deals. Like he saw like hey, try out for the UFL. Send us your tape, whatever. He said, all right, let me see this. He put together a tape. He went like 12 for 12 in the tape. He goes, yeah, this is what I can do. Now he's kicking field goals in the NFL, man. It's funny because the Lions got in trouble at the time, Scott. The day after he kicked that 66-yarder for Michigan, in Michigan, right? They play the same field at Ford Field in the UFL. Campbell called him and said, I want to sign you. And he broke the tampering rules. You're not allowed to talk to players until like there's a little... And he told him, no, he goes, whatever happens, bro, at the end of the year, we're signing you right away. And he goes, don't listen to other teams. We want you to be a Detroit Lion. And it came through. He's a really, really religious guy, this Bates guy. Doesn't swear, doesn't drink, like glory of God type of dude all the way through. I think that's why the kicks go through.
I could be worse.
I know.
Than that.
You figure guys in the room.
Right until you brought that up. Now, listen, you have to have a kicker in the NFL and in the playoffs. If you don't have a good kicker, you're not winning.
Yeah, no, the games are so close. You're right, Scott. People talking about the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. They're playing this week. Last year they played in the playoffs. Bass missed a kick that would have sent the game to overtime. Right? Like people are like, oh, Buffalo fell apart and this and that. Well, Butker made his kicks.
Right.
Bass did not. And you're right, Scott. You look at kickers in the playoffs. This is what is the most important. The Chiefs don't have these Super Bowl rings without Harrison Butker, bro.
Of course not.
They don't. Right? They don't. The guy constantly is making these 55-yarders in bad weather in January.
Straight
on the road.
Right down the middle.
Yeah, like, oh, he's never going to make this. It's snowing. 57-yarder. No, he won't make it. Boom, he makes it. Such a clutch guy. They win. You're right. You need that special teams. Bass of the Bills used to be good. He came in. He's got a leg. I don't know. It's kind of like the golfer against the yip, Scott. I think kickers sort of gets in their head a bit sometimes and they overthink things. But Bass is a little bit of a concern. I know he hit a 61-yarder, but, yeah, Bucker's a badass, bro. They just find a way. And unfortunately, Will Lutz did not yesterday.
Do you like him to beat the Chiefs? I do on Sunday in the Below.
Yeah, I'm going to. You know what I mean? They're 2-point favorites. Every time Mahomes is an underdog, he takes it personal. So without a doubt, this is a massive game, but this is a big game for the Buffalo Bills as well. Like we can talk, well, it doesn't matter. You got to beat them in the playoffs. Now you got to set the tone that we're going to beat you. We're not scared of you. Like, screw you. We're better than you. And not just beat them. I think the Buffalo Bills, Scott, need to, kick the crap out of the Chiefs next week just to send that message. We're going to see you again, and we're going to do it again. But easier said than done.
I'm not sure that that's possible, that they can kick the crap out of them, but I just want them to win.
together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions. Once again, his third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
So give me those scores of the last few, those 5 games that the Bills and Chiefs have played, and then let's move from that into the game tonight at SoFi with the Dolphins and Rams. Because I just said to you in the break, the Rams they've won 3 in a row. They're flat out better than the Dolphins. The Dolphins remind me of the Jets. And the Bears, and that's really kind of who they are. And then, they went out to Arizona, got beat. So, both of them, Arizona beat both of them. And I think that's what the Dolphins are running into. A team that's better, that's hot, that's winning, and that's playing at home and has, just flat out a better team.
The Dolphins season, the Dolphins are a fragile football team. Right? I mean, almost physically and psychologically. They're big front runners. If things are going their way, they can smoke you, but the second you punch back, they've got problems. They've been besieged by injuries this year, the Dolphins. But let's be real. So Tyreek Hill's status still up in the air. I kind of think he won't play, Scott. Just reading between the lines. Like, the point spread was 1 and it's 2.5 now. And that's not because of people betting. Like, people often think, a lot of money came in, so they moved the number. No, they moved the number because I think they think that Tyreek Hill's probably not going to play. So I think that's why they moved the number. That's just my own, reading between the lines type of deal. But since Tua's back, they have scored 27 points in back-to-back games. Now, they lost both the games. They lost close games. They lost 30-27 and 28-27. So they're almost due. They almost deserve better for what's happened over the last couple of weeks. And, yeah, this is a road game tonight, but the Dolphins on the road is more of the elements, right? It's L.A. You're playing indoors in L.A. So, yeah, you got the travel. It's not quite the same. But as you say, the Rams are playing great football right now. They've won 3 straight games. They've got Cup back. They've got Nakua back. Matthew Stafford, this guy he's ageless, right? You see some older quarterbacks look old.
Great.
He looks the same as he did 5 years ago. Like, He just drops back. He throws the ball. He does his thing. Rinse and repeat. Like, he doesn't overthink things. He's not like some workout fiend. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's just, I don't know how he does it, actually. Like, to play at the level that he does still is very, very impressive. And to me, Scott, All right, we can call it 2.5 right now. It's minus 130, 140 on the money line. Who do you want in a football game, Scott? Mike McDaniel or Sean McVay in a pick'em? I'll take McVay, to figure it out, to find a way. They're just better coached. Dolphins have a bunch of talent. They're top heavy, but they're not a deep football team. Their season's kind of imploded on them already. The only thing, a couple of things concern me, just that the Dolphins don't really have anything to lose anymore. They're kind of playing with house money, and they are better now that Tua's back. And I'm a little concerned that everyone in the world seems to like the Rams tonight. But I'm going to be on the Rams and the over, Scott.
All right, so give me those 5 games between the Chiefs and Bills.
Yeah, so the Bills and Chiefs play a lot, obviously. They play every year, a couple of times a year, it seems. The last 5 times they played, the Bills have beaten them 3 times. Unfortunately, the 2 times they've lost, they're in the playoffs, right? They lose in the playoffs. The regular season hasn't been a problem for them. Last year, they lost in the playoffs 27-24 to them. And they beat them 2017 in the regular season in KC. 2022, the year before that, they beat them 24-20 in Kansas City. They lost 42-36 in the classic overtime playoff game. And, Scott, they beat them. The Bills beat the Chiefs 38-20 that year in the regular season. They beat them by 18. So, if I'm the Bills, I'm getting pretty tired of seeing the Chiefs win all these Super Bowls when it could be you. You know what I'm saying? You lose to them. Look, they lost 27-24 last year. Bass missed the kick to send the game to overtime. KC goes on to win the Super Bowl. They lose the classic game at 42-36 in overtime. KC goes on to win the Super Bowl. There's a pattern here. So that's why, big game for Buffalo. I think they can beat them again in the regular season, Scott.
So right now, the Chiefs are 9-0 and would have the top spot in the AFC conference. The Bills would be second, Steelers third, Texans 4, Ravens 5, Chargers 6, Broncos 7, and in the mix still Colts, Bengals. Do you think it stays that way? Those top 6 of the 7 are going to the playoffs.
No, I don't think so. I think the 6 are, but I don't think the Broncos aren't going to make the playoffs when it's all said and done. Right. I mean, they're not that good. They're battling. It is what it is. But I still think the Bengals are going to find a way out of those teams. The AFC, that last spot, Scott's up for grabs. I mean, you got Indy, Denver, Cincinnati. Some crap-ass team has to make it.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, we'll go back to the Landover to start it off with our highlights of Sunday with the Steelers and the Commanders.
Yeah, let's go through Pain Day here, and we will start by finishing off the Steelers and the Commanders at the dump. Of course, 28-27 was the final. Steelers down for most of the day. That was until, Scotty, Russell Wilson finding Mike Williams, who, of course, just joined after a trade from the Jets. CBS with the Birdman.
3rd and long. Wilson floats it way upstairs. Williams, he's got it. Touchdown.
The Birdman. I mean, just what a sick play. 3rd and long. This guy, soars it to the moon into the basket. This guy over the shoulder catch. I mean, honestly, it was like a Plaxico Burress. I mean, it really was. It was a great catch. And obviously the Steelers win the trade deadline. I think Lattimore's a great pick to snag for the Commanders, but he's out with a hamstring, and they needed him on Sunday. I said on Friday he's not playing, and we talked to Chow about it. He's not playing. That means advantage Steelers. How are they going to guard Pickens and Williams and Freiermuth and Washington? And they didn't. Bottom line, every guy caught passes in that game. Every single guy. Even Warren, Najee. I mean, it was insane. They got so many weapons now. They really do. And that deal at the deadline for Williams is the winner. That wins the trade deadline right there. Guy goes out and catches a bomb in the corner of the end zone to win the game on the road against a team that was, 7-2. That's the winner right there. What a deal that Omar Khan pulled off.
I thought Warren had a huge game, by the way. I know Warren has been hurt a lot this year for the Steelers. He hasn't done much. I thought that was Warren's best game of the year by far. I mean, he had some big rushes, caught some big balls. That's a good thing for the Steelers going forward. Here is, of course, Mike Tomlin on a Victory Monday. He actually gets started here by being asked if he would have went for that 4th down if Washington didn't jump off sides, and then gets into how great the Mike Williams catch was.
Quite that aggressive mindset. I might assume you weren't going to go for it there on 4th down. You trying?
We'll never know, will we? You know I'm a degenerate.
How many times have you seen that Russell Wilson throw like that over the years, to just throw it up there and connect?
I've seen it a few times on highlight shows. It's a little better in person. Believe it.
How much of a grasp did Mike Williams have of the entire offense? What was he? Did you think he would be able to give you today?
He's a veteran guy. He's a quick study. We didn't throw everything at him, but we threw enough, particularly the one-dimensional ball, the passing circumstances. We didn't want him over there standing with us at the weightiest of moments.
The weightiest of moments. I mean, he gave a big. Now listen, this guy Pickens too. I got to tell you, you can say whatever you want about him. He makes plays the whole game. He caught the touchdown early, then he caught all kinds of passes. How about the one when he did the slant and broke free and ran for like another 20 yards and was breaking ankles all over the football field? How about when Wilson threw the pick and it was a pass to him, and then he came back on the play and just absolutely ragdolled some cornerback, picked him up and body slammed him. I know he didn't catch the runner with the ball, but the other guy that was trying to block him, he took care of him in a hurry. I just think he is an absolute badass stud.
He is. That was a great catch that he had for the first time for the Steelers early in the game, too, in the corner. Tremendous job by him. So the Steelers now 7-2, and they lead the AFC North heading into, of course, this week's matchup with the Ravens, which, as we said, is Ravens minus 3.5 here on a Monday with the 47.5 total. We know Tomlin, a dog at home. Please. Ferrall in the building. Come on. This is just an early in the week. Get your 3.5 now, because I don't think you'll be that by the weekend. I think you'll get flat 3 or under 3 by the time you get there. So I'd get the Steelers with the 3.5. Bet it now. 3.5 for the Steel Curtain. Russell Wilson matches Kenny Pickett's touchdown pass total from last year. He only needed 3 games to do that, Russell Wilson. It is such a difference. Like, it's amazing watching the Steeler offense with Russ back there, and give Russ a lot of credit. We did weeks of discussion about what do you do when Russ is healthy? Fields has won games. What are you doing? It's just different, the Steeler passing game with Russell Wilson out there. It just is.
No doubt.
It's different.
There's no doubt. And, I was wrong. I thought that Fields was breaking ankles with the way he gets out of the pocket and runs and gets first downs. I like that kind of football. I really do. It's no different than Josh Allen. Josh Allen makes a lot of plays with his feet, getting first downs on 3rd down and 5, 3rd down and 6. He'll take off running and get a first down. I thought Fields brought that element to the Steelers offense. I never questioned Russell Wilson's arm. We always said on this show, he's got a better arm. He throws better. He's a better passer. He won a Super Bowl. So it was the footwork and his age and in the pocket running. I thought he would get sacked a lot, but he's been surprisingly decent in the pocket, getting free of trouble and getting rid of the ball when he is in trouble. And you see his passer rating. I mean, you got Lamar, Burrow, and Wilson, top 3.
Yep, top 3 in the NFL for quarterbacks who have at least 3 starts. So Wilson has been excellent for the Steelers here.
Did you see their locker room celebration with the trap?
I did.
When they were
I did. Hey, when you're winning, it's all good, baby. I mean, when you're winning, you get to have a little fun. But I got a feeling, Tomlin, it is going to be all business with the Ravens coming to town this week. All business.
It's enormous.
So,
I mean, every room's gone. Every table's full. There's no room for error. I mean, I'm going in there. It is no joke. Like getting Razzies, getting rooms. Forget about it. It's too late. Like and I got to tell you, the way they travel, those fans, they took over that dump. I mean, it was all yellow. Those flags. They tried to hand out some kind of Femi purple towels to their fans, and they got drowned out. They got eaten alive. The Steelers fans, complete takeover.
Complete takeover, which is what you need, that's for sure. So we'll obviously spend a lot of time this week, Steelers and the Ravens coming up. The Bills, as you mentioned, also victorious. They go to 8-2 with a 30-20 win in Indianapolis against the Colts. Now, the Bills were very shorthanded on the outside wide receiver-wise. No Amari Cooper, no Keon Coleman. So what does that mean? Got to win in other ways. 4 turnovers from the defense, including a defensive touchdown, and Josh Allen doing it himself on CBS.
Allen keeps it himself right up the middle. Josh Allen at the 5, takes it in, touchdown! His 57th career rushing touchdown.
Like I said, this guy, he is so dangerous, busting free and running, and he's so fearless and so tough and so big. Obviously, the Bills are ahead of the Steelers at 8-2 in the second spot in the AFC. The Steelers are third. But there's a lot of football. There's 8 games left. There's a lot of football left. And the Steelers have not played yet one divisional game. That comes Sunday, the first one. And they got to play them all twice. They got to play twice.
Yep.
Baltimore twice, and the Browns twice.
I believe they are the only team that hasn't played a division game yet, right? In the NFL. I think they're the only ones who haven't.
We'll see
and
you
they've
Sunday.
got 6
We're not
left to
afraid
go.
of
We'll
them.
see you Sunday.
Let's go. Let's see you Sunday.
You and Gabe have already mentioned it. Obviously, the second half of that huge doubleheader Sunday is the Bills and the Chiefs in Buffalo. And the Bills have beaten them the last 3 years in the regular season and have lost twice to them in the playoffs. You guys did all that. I don't know about blowing them out, like Gabe was saying before, but I do think that this is a big game for the Bills, clearly. I mean, they're bringing the whole NFL today set there. Everybody, I mean, this is really going to be a huge moment for them in their place, which they don't get the Chiefs there very often before last year when they lost them in the playoffs. I think the Bills show up with a huge effort on Sunday. Still got to beat them in January. That's where it matters. But I think they come up huge this week as well, and they started off.
It's going to be incredible.
together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Always good to hook up with our buddy Bill Michaels of the Great Bill Michaels Show all over the great state of Wisconsin. Bill, good to see you, my friend. You were just telling me about the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and you were looking at the prices. So they're fleecing people that are flying to Bourbon Street.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, out in LA, I think it was like $2,500 for a condo for a week. I think it's like $6,000 for someplace decent down in New Orleans. Because, New Orleans, you can have something on one block and it's great in a great neighborhood, and the next block, man, you got to wear a Kevlar vest to go to sleep at night. So we're trying to find good areas to stay in, and that's going to be pricey. But yeah, looking forward to it, man. It's always a fun time.
All right, so let's talk about this first. The Packers, we were just talking about them earlier in the show of where they are. Right now, they're the last team in.
They're the last team in, and a lot of their mistakes have been kind of self-inflicted. A couple of bad passes out of Jordan Love, obviously the knee injury, then the groin injury that he's been kind of dealing with. They've had, he's got 10 interceptions so far on the season. They've had some special teams gaffes as well. Some of them they've been able to overcome. Some of them they haven't. You look at the game against, say, Minnesota. That was his first game back, Jordan Love's first game back after the knee injury. Did not play well in the first half. Had they had 5 more minutes to go in that game, I think the Packers might have pulled that game out. The game against Detroit that they lost, they had 3 turnovers. You're not going to win the game turning the ball over 3 times and giving it to Detroit, and one of those being a pick 6. So some of the stuff that they've done has kind of been self-inflicted, and that was the concentration during the bye week for Matt LaFleur. And if he can get that right, then I think this team is pretty capable of doing some damage in the postseason.
So they've played, basically, am I right? They've played the Vikings and the Lions in division. That's it, right, to this point. And they lost to both of them. Are you concerned about any of that?
I'm not, only for the fact that last year Detroit came into Lambeau Field and they beat them in kind of dominating fashion. And then everybody remembers on Thanksgiving Day when the Packers went over to Detroit, played that first game on Thanksgiving morning and just drubbed them in Ford Field. So I'm not worried about them going on the road. As a matter of fact, Matt LaFleur's got a pretty good road record as a coach. To me, it's all about the quarterback getting healthy, getting on his reads, and also keeping his footwork. Because when he's throwing off his back foot and he's on the run, he's not nearly as good, especially when you've got a bum knee and a bum groin. So if he gets that healthy and gets back to his footwork with Tom Clements, his quarterback coach, I think things will be pretty good. And if you just eliminate a few of the penalties and just a few of the dumb mistakes, it's a good football team. I think defensively speaking, they've climbed they have ascended steadily in a lot of the statistics. They're right around the top 10, top 11, top 13 in a lot of those, crucial categories. The one category they need to fix is pass rush. If you go with Pro Football Focus, they're ranked 25th in pass rush, and they've got to get more pass rush. If they do, then the secondary is going to get better. Remember, Jair Alexander's been down for a little while as well. So I think they're going to be okay, barring any kind of mass injury. I think it's a good team. I just think that they just need something to kind of bring it all together, and maybe going into Chicago this weekend against the craptastic Bears, maybe that's the elixir they need to get off the schneid.
Well, you would think because Chicago looks awful. They can't score touchdowns. Yeah. They have 10 points this year in the first quarter of games. Yesterday, again, they didn't score. Last week, they didn't score touchdowns, that is. They look awful, and their coach is in, I think, literally dire straits. I think they want him gone in Chicago. I don't know about ownership, but the fans, the media, they want him gone. This is a perfect time for the Packers to go in there and punch him in the throat.
That would be, I think, the knockout blow for Eberflus. It was funny. I was listening to one of the radio stations coming out of Chicago today that Eberflus does his morning radio show on, and he kept dropping his cell phone. I guess he wasn't in a good area. And finally, they dropped him for the third time. And they said, Coach, if you're listening, your cell phone's about as good as your offense. And that was all you needed, man. That was a verbal kick in a beanbag. When he ended up dropping it, it was like, okay, we're going to Chicago this weekend. We'll be down there for our show and everything. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I've even got Chicago fans, Scotty, that are emailing me saying they're sorry because I like Jaden Daniels better coming out into the draft. And I said, look, I think Caleb Williams is good. I just don't know if he's at that level. And what you're seeing is he's slow. He's hanging on to the football. Now, not all of it's his fault. Their offensive line's pretty decimated, but man, that whole situation down there is just awful. You look at Trubisky and how they ruined him. You look at Justin Fields and how they ruined him. And now they're on the verge of maybe possibly ruining another quarterback and another top pick as a quarterback in the draft. It's just bad down there.
He's been sacked more than anybody in the NFL. Their offensive line's terrible. Let's talk about the Bucs. So the Bucs played the Knicks, I think, going back to Friday night, and it was in New York at the Garden. And I was like, I remember after the game, Giannis was basically saying, if guys don't want to be here and they don't want to win and they don't want to try, I'm not having it. And then they turn around and they lose on Sunday at home to the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics covered the 5. I don't know if it was any better because the score was closer, but they got whacked by the Knicks. They're 2-8 and they're awful. And you cannot explain it to me having Dame Lillard and this guy on the floor on a team and they suck this bad.
Two things. You touched on Dame Lillard. He does not play defense. You saw Boston yesterday go right after him. The minute he came back on the floor, specifically in the fourth quarter, they went right after him. He doesn't play defense, and he doesn't play defense well. If you look at Giannis's numbers, and I don't pick on Giannis because he's not this great of a player, but his defensive statistics are a little bit down from where they were, go back to 2020, 2021 when they won the championship. He's about down half in block shots, half in steals. Some of the numbers, if you look at the metrics of their defense, which transitioned into offensive buckets, it's way down. This team doesn't have a PJ Tucker. They don't have a guy like Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was your lockdown guy. They don't have that. PJ Tucker was your dirty junkyard dog. They don't have that. This team doesn't want to play defense. What they rely upon is missed shots. If the other team misses a shot, then maybe they'll get a rebound. But if you look at a lot of the metrics, offensive and defensive rebounding and steals and blocks, they're way down, and that's ultimately costing them.
So I guess they're starting the Cup tomorrow. They play the Raptors in Milwaukee. Do you think it's going to get any better? I got 20 seconds.
I really don't. I think you need guys like Gary Trent Jr. to start shooting better when he comes back, Brook Lopez to play better when he's on his game. But I until they commit to playing defense, it doesn't matter what coaching voice you have in that locker room. It's on the players right now.
All right, Bill, have a great trip to Chicago with the show. Say hi to everybody from us. Thanks for coming on Coast to Coast. Always good to see you, my friend.
You know, man.
together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Rubber High, I don't think, obviously, that the Lions will have a 5-turnover game in the postseason. But if they did, they're going to lose. I don't think you can survive that in the playoffs. I think teams obviously know the key to playoff success is protecting the football. And whoever makes that mistake in the fourth quarter and turns the ball over is going to lose the game. Last night was unbelievable. 5 picks, and they still win the game. It was 23-7 at halftime, or should I say bedtime. Everyone was giving up on that game at halftime, right? Like, I knew the Lions were going to throw a punch. I knew they were going to throw a punch. I kept the game on. I watched it, and I was like, all right, they scored, and then I was like, all right, here we go. Now they got a shot, and they came back and won that game. It's unbelievable, but they cannot have a performance like that in the postseason or they'll be dead.
Yeah, you had it was a very bizarre game because yes, it was 23 23-7 at the half.
Yeah.
But Stroud had a couple bad picks too. 7 combined interceptions between the two of them. And that leads to the Texans' 4th straight game that they didn't score a touchdown in the second half. This time they didn't score any points, period, as the Lions came storming back. Of course, they got the Montgomery touchdown, the St. Brown touchdown, and then it was a couple field goals from Jake Bates. The first one was a 58-yarder with 5 minutes left that tied the game at 23. Then they get the ball. Now, remember, Houston missed at the other end, right, Scotty?
Right,
Fairbairn missed. And then the Lions were able to come with Bates one more time as the clock was expiring. How about Dan Miller on Lions radio?
There's the snap, spot, kick away. It is up, and it is good! He got it! Yes, we're going to fly home on the wings of Jake Bates. Oh, baby, good from 58, good from 52, and that's good enough for a victory for the Detroit Lions. Oh, what a comeback by this team. 7 in a row, down 16 at the break. They scored all the points in the second half. They are 8-1 on the season.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Great call by him. And they mean business. They're the number 1 seed right now in the NFC.
You know what that game's like? That's the kind of game where when we're going to be talking about them Super Bowl week against whoever they're playing, be like, remember that game they won in Houston? They just had so many great wins. That's the kind of, you need, it doesn't look pretty if you see Goff throwing 5 picks, but they won the game. And I think it really does show you how good a team the Lions actually are, as they now sit at the top of the NFC, doing just an unbelievable job. They're at 8-1. All right, the Niners came out of the bye. They needed to get back on track as well. And they were sloppy, really, for most of the day against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Again, Baker is tough as nails. And Baker almost pulled it out again for Tampa at home against the Niners. But in the fourth quarter, little George Kittle, and I had to find a way to get Papa from KNBR on today.
Second down, 10, 11-yard line. Purdy, quick snap, looks right. Purdy, time. Purdy pushed out to his right now. Going to still keep the ball and roll to his left. Vita Vea chasing him, gets his shoulders around, throws to the back of the end zone. Caught by George Kittle. Touchdown! San Francisco!
Oh, there's nothing better than Papa. I love him on the sports leader. I'll say this. I legitimately think, because they always do this after week 9, they always win. They're 5-4 now. Watch, they got 8 games left. I bet they win 6 of them, and they'll win 11 games, and they'll get in. They're the first team on the outside looking in. Not for long.
Yeah, and you need to remember, they're only a half game back of Arizona because Arizona hasn't had their bye yet. The Niners have had their bye. I agree with you. I think they're going to win the NFC West. Now, we're going to get to Arizona in a little bit. They've been a lot better than people thought, especially over the past few weeks. And they don't play again until the last game of the season, Niners and Cardinals, in Arizona. So there's a lot of road to get through before we get there. But they've got the Seahawks at home this week. I think that'll get them to 6-4. And like you say, the ball will just kind of start to roll from there for the 49ers. Bad news for the Bucs. It really just has been an unlucky year for them with the injuries that they've had. They're 4-6 now. Evans says it's probably going to be a couple weeks after the bye until he's back. But I thought Baker played great again yesterday, Scotty. He played really well.
Well, I mean, Baker's incredible, but what is that now, 6 of 7? They just keep losing.
Yeah.
They're doomed. They cannot keep losing and expect to get a wild card. It's not happening.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Are they definitely done with Daniel Jones from this point? And any shot that Dable is off the sidelines, meaning he gets fired before next season?
They have a general manager in Joe Shane. Every big move has to get approval by ownership. So look, the bottom line is they don't know who their future quarterback is past this season. Tommy DeVito's clearly not the answer. They don't have a Drew Lock's not the answer.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of concern, I would say, for Georgia in Carson Beck. 3 interceptions once again. His third 3-interception game in the last 5 for UGA.
You can argue if they had Alex Orji as their starting quarterback for Georgia, they would be perfect and unbeaten right now just by not turning the football over and running it with your talented backfield.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.